So I'm Liz, Elin is, we're going to share this presentation and we're going to share with you, it's about how important digital channels are in our campaigns. We've recently, the session is going to focus on our recent, as of last week, award-winning vehicle tax evasion campaign. I know we're known for tax, so that's our primary function in DVLA. We collect tax from everyone for vehicles that you drive. But our campaign is about changing customer behaviour through a number of channels, and a lot of those are digital. So what we're going to talk about is how the inclusion of digital channels was instrumental in getting a return on investment of about £53 million worth of revenue just from a 3-month campaign. So I've got a bit of a script, so bear with me while I read that, because I haven't learnt it all yet. So, as I said, the digital focus. So it's no secret that digital comms has changed the way we in DVLA interact with our customers. All of our customers are digital, it goes without saying. I think all of our speakers before us has mentioned the importance of it and reacting and responding well. So we don't really need to speak to them to know what they're saying in communications. What we do in our team is monitor what people are saying about us daily through a social listening tool, which unfortunately isn't Olo, but we do use one. And we will look at Olo at a different time, I think. But if we're not listening to what our customers are saying, then we're not really doing our job as communicators. We're a big communications team, so we're part of content marketing, press office as well. So all of us are on board with social listening quite a lot every day. And the insight and intelligence that we get from our digital channels is much quicker, and especially when we're running campaigns. We'll take you through, I'll talk a little bit about what our campaign is about. But before I do, when we're running the campaign to intercept on digital news and news agendas, items happening on the day, got us a lot of coverage, and Elin will talk a little bit about how we jumped in on the current news agenda to generate a lot of media coverage, which helped us enormously in our behaviour change focus. So it gives us a big broader understanding of our customer behaviour than just traditional methods of insight, and it's particularly interesting to watch a story unfold on digital channels as well, following a post or a live report, and this can tell us a lot about our customers and the audience in that we're targeting. So whenever we're planning a campaign, we use our own digital channels, but we were lucky enough on this occasion to have a £2 million spend to use on paid for digital channels, which sounds a lot, but when you factor in the areas that we had to go to, so we had to go to 12 different areas across the country, it's quite a lot of media that we had to buy, so that's what we had. And the main focus of our sessions, that without the digital tracking that we had in place for the channels that we used, we wouldn't have been able to track the success of the campaign. So like I said, we focused on audience in 12 regions of the country, so we had 2 audiences that didn't pay their tax on time, and our main focus of the campaign was trying to nudge them into doing something, and we did that by serving them a lot of adverts at different periods of their general day-to-day journey or their customer journey. So our approach when we run campaigns, digital or non-digital, but especially those with the public purse attached, because obviously we spend taxpayers' money, so we have to quantify why and how. So it's always focused on 2 things. So maximising the no-cost element, which is using our own channels. In government, whenever you do government communications, the paid for media supports your existing no-cost activity. So we have to have a very strong case to take to Cabinet Office to make sure that we convince them basically that we deserve some money to support what we already do. And the next bit is using the trackable activity wherever possible to measure and evaluate. And our objective setting is quite a critical part of our campaigns, not only to be able to track, but to be able to be stretched for us to reach them. So onto our campaign. So for this campaign, particularly, we asked our audience about the type of creative messaging they wanted, and we always knew that we wanted to drive home that message, that we were in the areas. So we did a 12 areas, a regional targeted campaign. One of those was Birmingham. So you might have seen some things way back in March, January to March, in bus shelters and on the radio. So our premise of this campaign was to target those 12 areas where people weren't complying with the law on time. And we wanted to drive home that message that we were in the areas and we were taking action. So we wanted to bring this message right to the local level and persuade people that we were here and what the consequences of not taxing were very real to them, and we were in their area taking action. And to do that, what would be a better way than serving them that message to the device that they were using at the time they were using it? And we needed a range of channels to do this. So we had awareness raising ones like radio and out of home. I think Bournemouth Council also mentioned out of home and the use of digital sick sheets, so we did that as well. But we also did a lot of digital. So we did a lot of Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We did paid search like Google AdWords, and we did a lot of digital display. So our premise was to intercept them while they were browsing online and to make sure that we followed that journey through. So we knew we had to be very succinct with our message, have the right creative to use on these digital channels, and make it easier to get the audience to our website in just one click. And our landing page was the online vehicle tax service, so you can sort of see where this is going. So so they'd see it, they'd hear something, they'd see it, they'd click on it, and they go through and hopefully then go on to tax, which is the start of that behaviour change. So getting the right mix of creative was essential for us to prevent ad fatigue. It's very noisy. It was particularly noisy in that period with Brexit as well. I know we still haven't left, but that January to March bit, it was very noisy for us. So we had to make sure that our targeting was correct and that the channels that we're using were the ones that people were using themselves. And we did use a media buyer for that. But you can do that in your own channels, as I'm sure that you know, through Facebook targeting and things like that. But we use the media buyer for ours, just simply because we had the money to do so and the resource. So we utilise our assets as well. So we not only we made a short film, which we will show you later, and we chopped it up and made it into different formats to use across our range of channels, which helped us a lot and saved us quite a lot of money as well. So it's just about making sure that content can deliver across all that you're doing. And we also use them on our no-cost plan, and Elin's going to talk a little bit more about that now.
Hi, I'm Elin. I hope you can understand our Welsh accents. I don't know if they're up there with Birmingham as being as difficult to understand. So why are we digitising our campaigns? So digital, as Liz has already referred to, is the key to measuring campaign success. Trackable channels are one of the most straightforward ways to measure and evaluate your campaigns. Developing objectives and key performance indicators linked to digital, as opposed to untrackable channels such as radio, print or out of home, provide tangible evidence on the campaign's effectiveness, which we all need to then take it to the next level. Creating friendly URLs for each channel that we went out with throughout the campaign allowed us to understand trends in how our audience was responding to the advertising. But this isn't fail-safe, so if people have heard on the radio driving home the advert, they wouldn't necessarily use that URL to type it in to go to the website. So trackable digital activity is the purest way to demonstrate the impact of a campaign and the audience of the behaviour as a result of it. So for us, tracking all the way from the advert to the start page of gov.uk was key in measuring success and building the case for future campaigns. In our campaign, we used a number of paid-for digital channels, which Liz referred to earlier, and we regularly reviewed them to upweight spend in our best performing areas. We had a range of content to keep things fresh, so we had stills, moving images, videos and sound bites, which allowed us to stagger content across the 3-month campaign period. Along the way, we learned a few things that worked well for us through these channels, and they may be obvious to you as a room full of digital professionals, but we thought it might be worth sharing. So pretty obvious, but our audience still loves videos. But what we found is that they liked candid, short videos, behind-the-scenes stuff, box pops, sound bites. It prompted our target audience to engage with the content, that raw kind of footage. Localisation resonated, so we were really lucky in that we were doing a regional campaign because we were able to target 12 regions and therefore localise the messages. Seeing your city or town name pop up on an advert on Facebook means it's more likely to resonate with you than just seeing a generic "we're in your area." Bold images work. The ad recall was really strong, with the campaign image of the giant yellow clamp standing out, and it really helped build campaign recognition because we used a lot of different methods to get this message over to people. And finally, a bit of desk research goes a long way, so understanding the customer journey can really help. Learning how, when and where our customers buy or tax their vehicle, we were better able to target them with the right adverts at the right time. This research also helped us when we were planning the broadest possible search terms that we could use for page search. So no-cost digital is critical for us and is just as valid as trackable paid-for digital activity. Essentially, we turned our own channels into campaign channels for the period, reinforcing the campaign messages and prompting the audience to take action. We operate an always-on approach to our campaign messages, so our own digital tools keep our campaign momentum going beyond the life of the activity. We applied 4 principles along the way, which could be useful to apply to other campaigns, and here's a few more tips that we picked up on. So number 1 is about timetabling, especially if you're doing a campaign of any duration. Plan your no-cost activity out on a weekly basis throughout the length of your campaign, and this can help identify when and where the messages could land, and can also help you spot any pinch points or key moments. But be realistic with what you can do with your resources on this plan and how much you can really commit to doing. Making sure that post-launch you have a plan of regular hooks, events, angles or contents will help keep that message fresh, which we know can become a bit boring after 12 weeks of the same yellow image. Being a regional campaign, we developed a timetable to ensure no-cost digital activity was happening in each region at various key points. So, for example, we had a week of social activity focusing on the Birmingham area, which was one of the areas with high evasion. So tip number 2 is about thinking big. You can always scale your big ideas down, but think what could have the biggest impact for your audience and work out what is in your gift and what you may need to beg or borrow to achieve it. We thought that taking a giant clamp out to a busy shopping centre would be a bit of a challenge, but it worked really well for us. We took it to 8 regions in the end, and the content that we were able to generate from a face-to-face live event allowed us to put so much more out on our own channels for the rest of the campaign. It was so valuable as a PR tool, as a engagement tool, but also to generate some really fresh content with regional accents and regional voices. So it was really worthwhile. We recorded as much as we could, from clamping to lifting vehicles, to short face-to-camera videos of our enforcement teams, to more slick content from these stunts. It was really good PR, and it generated loads of content for our social media channels, which we were really pleased with. Number 3 is all about engagement. So share the love with other like-minded organisations in your field, and most importantly, those who are already talking to your target audience. Look for opportunities to engage with them. Look for opportunities to engage with the campaign, like Birmingham Police did. I think there's Birmingham Police in there. Yeah. Yes, glad that's a thing. And it's not West Midlands Police, is it? And give them opportunities to amplify your content or provide valuable third-party endorsement. In our case, the DVLA is a well-known organisation, but not a well-liked organisation. People follow us on Twitter, so they complain about us. The police and the councils can have really close, positive relationships with our audience, so why not let them deliver the message for us? We wrote to organisations in each of the regions ahead of the campaign, asking them to get involved. Many did, some more than others, but those that did share our messages were reaching an audience we just couldn't get to through our own channels. It worked really well for us, and we would happily return the favour for them. We maintain these relationships all year round, so it makes it easier to ask for support when we need it. And tip 4 is about recycling content. We got sent this photograph from our media buyers. It was just saying proof that we've purchased a bus stop shelter in London somewhere. But we thought it was such a lovely image. We put it out on our Instagram feed. So a paid-for advert in situ can be a great piece of social media content as kind of vox pop of an event. And a relevant awareness day trending could tie into something you've done previously. So finding creative ways to maximise the value you get from each piece of content is sometimes easier than you think. You can plan some of these in as well by making sure that you capture material in different formats and situations to allow for it to be used on different channels. For us, uploading the radio adverts to our YouTube channel meant that we could point to the regional adverts through our no-cost digital when we were in those areas clamping. And a behind-the-scenes blog that we pushed out about how we take action against untaxed vehicles was pushed out to users through an email alert, and it was one of our most successful blogs of the year in terms of views and engagement. It was also picked up by a Sun journalist who follows our email alerts, and it ended up online with the Sun, which is really, really valuable PR and third-party endorsement. So I'm going to hand back over to Liz now, but basically all of these tips, what we're trying to get across is don't be afraid to try new approaches on digital channels and maximise the value you get from everything you do.
So this is some of the results that we got from all of the paid for and organic content that we put out, and we couldn't quite believe them when we saw them. We knew we'd done pretty well, but we didn't think for a minute it has done that well. And particularly our awareness raising tactics using our no-cost channels, saw over 170 pieces of media coverage and a huge reach then with the radio ads. But it was the digital results were the ones that really matter. So these are the ones that we used, particularly for the basis of our calculation for return on investment, which really showed us that the campaign did work. And it's a critical part of any analysis, and I don't think we can emphasise that enough. Tracking the digital activity was done through our media buyers and Google Analytics, and other sources that we had as well, like Facebook Insights and things like that. But it did show that the click-throughs generated the adverts with digital display working best, then social and followed by paid search. So this campaign then generated over 500,000 unique visits to our start page of the vehicle tax service, which is brilliant for us. That means 500,000 people went there as a result of the advertising. And if you combine that with the fact that 60% of people on average who land on the start page go on to tax their vehicle, we came out with a return investment of 24 to 1. Which is, as I said earlier, £53 million in money generated as a result of this campaign. And on the no-cost digital, we saw over 1 million impressions on our social posts, our own social posts, and 37,000 views of the behind-the-scenes blog that Elin mentioned. So it did really well. So this is the kind of evaluation we do in government. We do outputs, outtakes, and outcomes. But really, although these results are brilliant, what really matters is if it resonated with the audience, as Elin's mentioned. So we'd like to play you a little video of one of the short films that we did in one of the city centres that we visited.
There's a number of ways of doing it, so get it done, or get it close.
In any case, I have tax in my car, and quite big inside.
So we love this a lot. So we're glad that you do too. So this is one of the reasons that we won that award, because it not only shows people's reactions to it, and we got a little bit of insight as well. People forgetting they tax a car, they better check. So all that stuff is really it's a goal to us when it comes to campaigning. And as I said, these results help us build another business case to go forward and do another campaign. So we're hoping to follow it through with another one. But just to close, we do love digital. It's integral in our business, as I'm sure it is to everyone. In government, it's quite hard sometimes to get into the spirit of being social on social. I think Rich touched upon earlier. So we are trying our very best to be much more customer friendly in DVLA, although it is hard when you've got a legal obligation to take stuff from someone. But we are trying our best on our team to do that. So digital tells a much richer story to us as campaigners about our successes and failures, as well as what our audience are doing. And it tells us more about their actions than traditional methods, because there's no time lag, so you get everything you need in real time. And we make sure that our digital channels are at the heart of all our campaigns, and we maximise our content opportunities for all of these channels. We still use a lot of our content. I think we picked up a tip from one of the newspaper sessions we went to about republishing content, so we pretty much do it all the time. And now we're in a really strong position to demonstrate the success that we've had, whether it's return on investment, a really good reach, or the number of actions that our target audience has taken, be it a share, a like, or going through to our landing page as a result of seeing our campaigns. Oh, and that's it. That's the end. That's the end.